Hi Simran, Jeff Bradley here. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. If I'm not, please forgive me. I want to thank you for responding to the Facebook post that I made. And I took a look at your website, and now I'm assuming that you are located in Burlington, Ontario. So normally I don't work with businesses outside the United States, but I wanted to make you this video anyway. I think there's some things that I can help you with. And in addition to this video, I'm going to also send you a link to a PDF that I made that's going to kind of recap some of this stuff I'm going to show you. So these are things that you can do pretty much by yourself, or if you have someone that helps you with your website. So I want to let you know what these things are. I think the tweaks that I'm going to show you have the ability to make a dramatic improvement in your Google ranking. So that's what I want to show you. I'm going to try and keep it under 10 minutes, and I'll try not to get too technical because I know this stuff can get really techy, but I think this will help you a lot. So I took a look here. We're on your website, as you can see, and right off the bat, you have a beautiful website. It's laid out very logically, and there's lots of room for growth here. One of the first things Google looks at is the layout of your website. Is it logical? Is it structured correctly? And you have a good start. So one thing I would say is I would go ahead and change the color on the fonts just to make it a little bit more readable. It's a little bit hard to see. At least it is on my computer. So just darken the color of the fonts. I really like the font that you chose. And looking at your services, I'm thinking that landscape design would be the niche that you're in, and I'm going to go with that. Now, you've got a lot of different services that you offer, and there's endless possibilities for all of the different things that you could rank for, but I think landscape design is a term. First of all, it's a very high traffic volume search term right now, and it's kind of a good umbrella keyword that covers most of the services that it looks like you do. Now, in the future, we can create a scenario where you are also ranking for all of the individual services by name, and we would find keywords that best fit all of the services that you have. But for right now, just for this example, let's go with landscape design. And I'm going to show you, I did a keyword research in Burlington, Ontario. Landscape design is getting tops about 100 searches per month. And that's quite a lot of business that's happening. And if we look on this map, I took a look at the population levels for your area. Now, if you are in Burlington, that's about a little over 200,000 population. That's a really good population level. It's quite possible you could find all the business that you could ever handle just right in this area if we get your website properly optimized to begin to draw in all that search traffic. Now, you're in an interesting situation where you're surrounded by all of these different cities that are really high population. Like, for example, Hamilton is almost 500,000 people, and that's going to be a little steep in the competition to be able to start ranking there. Same with Mississauga and Toronto, of course. Kitchener, all these different areas are good for growth in the future, but right now what needs to happen is you need to rank for the town that you're in and dominate that town in the rankings. If we can get you to page 1 there, that's going to have a ripple effect. That's going to raise your rankings in all these surrounding areas. And then in the future, if you want to, if you're really wanting to scale your business up, we can create location pages for all these different areas. But for right now, let's just focus on your hometown, Burlington, which I'm still assuming that's where you're located, and get you ranking there. So let's start. Use that as a starting point. Now, I did a search on Google, and my search terms were landscape design, Burlington, Ontario. And I discovered that I looked all the way down past page 10, and that's the top 100 businesses, and I could not find you ranking anywhere. So what we need to do is, first of all, get Google's attention. Right now, Google doesn't really know that you exist, so we need to fix that. And then we need to get you bumped up in the rankings. And here's how we can get you headed in that direction. So number one, of course, is the page layout. We discussed that. That's good. You got a good start on that. The second thing is I noticed that your URL has GoDaddy sites in it. Now, that's no big deal for right now, but as we grow your business and try to raise you up in the rankings, that is going to be an important thing to consider, and I'll explain why in a minute. But for right now, let's just go with what we have. I know it will cost a few extra dollars a month to actually buy this domain, and then that would eliminate the GoDaddy sites, and I'll show you in a little bit why that will be very beneficial for you to do that. So the first thing that Google looks at when trying to rank a website is the title tag. Now, as we look here on page 1, all these blue lines of text are the title tags. Now, the title tag does not appear anywhere on your website. If you go back into the editing section, there's a text field there. It's called title tag or title. They had different names for it, but it's always contains the word title. And that is where you enter in what your title tag is. Now, the title tag tells Google what it is that you want to rank for, and it tells Google the very keywords that you want people to use to find you with. Now, if we go back to your website, I'm going to open up this scanning tool and get it to open up. Here we go. We find out that your title tag right now is Picco Design. Now, the problem with this is that you are telling Google that this is the word that you want people to use to find you with. And what we have here is nobody searching for your services would ever even know to type in Picco Design in their search. They would type in the keywords that relate to the services that they're searching for. And in our example here, we're using landscape design or landscape designers. So landscape designers needs to be included somewhere in the title tag. And Google has a specific format for how it wants your title tag to look. And here is the format. You can write this down. This is critically important. The format is keyword dash location dash business name. So your title tag in this scenario, if you're going with landscape design, your title tag would be landscape design dash Burlington, Ontario dash Picco Design. Or landscape designers. Both of those Google kind of considers as the same thing. So that would be your title tag. Landscape designers dash Burlington, Ontario dash Picco Design. Now, the second thing that Google looks at when trying to rank a website is the H1. Now, the H1 is a line of text, and it usually appears somewhere on the top of your page. And the H1 also tells Google what it is that you want to rank for. Now, the H1 needs to match exactly what your title tag is. So, your H1 would also be landscape design dash Burlington, Ontario dash Picco Design. Needs to match. Needs to be a one-to-one corresponding match. And right now, your H1 is you dream it, we build it. And here it is. We can see it up here. Now, you can still have this text on here. Just don't make it to be your H1. And if you go into the editing section of your website, you will see text fields. And they're labeled H1, H2, H3, H4, H5. And those are for different purposes. The H1 is what we want to focus on. It needs to match your title tag. So your H1... in that H1 field, you need to also type in landscape design dash Burlington, Ontario dash Picco Design. And like I said, this is nice. You dream it, we build it. I like that. We can keep that on here. Just don't put it into the H1 field. And you can place the H1 field wherever you want. Doesn't have to be in this spot. Just as long, you can keep that, but the H1 needs to match precisely the title tag. When that happens, when these two things match, what that is doing is it is creating a crystal clear channel of communication between your website and the Google algorithm. Now Google knows precisely what it is you're trying to rank for and where your location is and your business name. Now, anybody searching for landscape design, Google now knows to direct those searches directly to your website. So those are the first two key critical things that need to happen to begin to rank you. Now, keep in mind that in order to get onto page 1 of Google, you don't have to have the greatest website in the world. All you have to do is be a little bit better than the people who are already on page 1. And by better, I mean be better in those things that Google looks at and tracks and measures, like the H1 and the title tag and some of the other things that I'm going to mention now. So the next thing that Google looks at, oh, and by the way, the title tag, the H1, and the content amount to about 50% of your overall ranking power. So what we're going to do, as I mentioned earlier, eventually we want to have a separate page for each one of the services that you offer. And the possibilities are endless in all the services that you offer. And when you have individual pages for all of these services, each one of those pages is then going to have its own individual title tag with the keyword for that service in there and a matching H1. Now, anybody searching for all those individual services can also be directed straight to the pages that you have for those services. Now we can begin to direct traffic not only to your home page for landscape designers, but also to all of the other pages that you have, all these other services here. And the possibilities are endless. Fence installation, fire pit, swimming pool installation, all the things that it looks like you do. So once all of this is in place, the next thing that Google looks at is something called your backlink profile. Now, you probably know what backlinks are. Backlinks are when an outside website links back to your website. And when that happens, whatever ranking power that outside website has, some of that ranking power is going to begin to flow back to your website, giving you cumulative ranking power. Now, backlinks account for about 50% of your overall ranking power. So what I did was I used this scanning tool, and I took a look to see what your present backlink profile looks like. piccodesign.godaddysite.com. Now, people that are usually on page 1 are going to have a domain rating somewhere. It could be in the 20s, 30s, somewhere in the big city areas that might be up in the 40s or 50s or higher. Now, you have a huge domain rating. And by the way, this is on a scale from 0 to 100. Now, the reason for this, and you have 0 backlinks, so you're not getting any outside ranking power from anywhere. But this domain rating is extraordinarily high, but it's not giving you any ranking power whatsoever. The reason for that is the scanning tool is seeing the GoDaddy sites. GoDaddy is a huge company, huge website, huge ranking power. So the scanning tool is recognizing that, and it's attributing this huge domain rating to you because you're linked to GoDaddy. But this is not giving you any advantage in your ranking. And in the future, if we build any backlinks for you to increase your ranking power, that's not going to help you either because this GoDaddy sites is in the way. and it's absorbing all the ranking power that we might build for you. So watch what happens if we eliminate the GoDaddy sites. Let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to erase that off of here. Boom, it's back. Now, in the future, your domain will be piccodesign.com. Let's check your backlink profile now and watch what happens. That sends your domain rating to 0. So we start from scratch. Now, any backlinks that we build for you, that ranking power will flow directly to you and benefit you and increase your domain rating. So we got a lot of work to do because your number one competitor in your area is Jackie Miller Landscaping. They have 26 backlinks. They have a domain rating of 9. Let's Landscape has 2,600 backlinks. That's a lot. They must have been in business for a long time. They have a domain rating of 21. Let's take it one more. Ideal Garden Concepts, 35 backlinks. They have a domain rating of 7. Now, these domain ratings are not very high. Even this one, 21, these are well within reach of you to be able to reach them and surpass them in the rankings. All it would take is just a well thought out campaign of creating backlinks to well-established outside websites that have a high authority ranking in the eyes of Google. So I just wanted to show you the backlink profiles to give you an idea of where you stand relative to your competitors. It's not that far of a reach for you to reach them and surpass them in the rankings with a well-thought-out campaign of link building. That, combined with getting all of these on-page things dialed in, the H1, the title tag, and the content, these are all things that you can do aside from the link building. You would need help with that. But the on-page stuff, which accounts for about 50% of your rankings, these are things that you can do yourself. And like I said, I'm going to send you a PDF that's going to guide you how to do those things. Now, as far as writing content for all of your pages, here is a trick to know how to do that. If you go back to your Google listing and you go down, usually towards the bottom of page 1, you're going to find a section called People Also Ask. What this is a list of the most commonly asked questions about your niche. Google is telling you that these are the most important things that people want to know. If you center and focus your content around answering these questions, this is going to make Google very happy because you are going to be satisfying the number one thing Google's looking for. Google wants to find websites that give searchers a good experience, that answer all their questions. And that's really what Google is after when ranking a website. It wants to find websites that will give searchers the very best possible experience and get all their questions answered. So focus and base all of your content on these questions. And if you keep clicking on them, then Google will add more questions, and you can get a good, solid foundation for good, solid content here. And you get that title tag dialed in with the H1, which will be explained in the PDF I send you. And I would be very interested to see how much this is going to have a positive impact on your ranking. I think it's going to make a dramatic impact for you. So, I apologize for taking so long. We're up to 20 minutes, and I only wanted to go 10 at the most. But I appreciate you watching this and responding to my Facebook post. I hope this is of value to you, and I'm always here to answer any questions you have. So I'd be happy to do that for you to the best of my ability, answer all your questions, and I will look forward to hearing from you. So take care, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye now.